To be fair, you already know I love it, but let me tell you why. It's a solid number. There are a bunch of things that I probably won't talk about so much, like the frame rates and the highest level of video that it offers, but really just a few thoughts on how I've got on with it. Let me just say it's been a seamless experience going from the T1 to the T2 to the T3 and running it alongside the T2. I've had no problems at all. I have left this L bracket on that I was trying out. We've already spoken about that. Yeah, it's crop sensor, it's still not full frame, but whatever, who cares? Yes, I favoured the all black version, as I always do when it comes to the cameras that I'm working with. This one, for me, is the workhorse. It's beautiful, it still looks cool. The touchscreen works nicely. You can customize buttons and even the touchscreen, which is good for a working pro. Everything feels well placed. I don't particularly have any outstanding urges when it comes to the design, the build. Given the nature of shooting that I do, the video modes that the T3 presents, not really necessary for me, other than I do like using the face detection if I want to shoot myself. You know, that is very handy, and I don't need to go into the crazy bit depth blah 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 stuff that it does, but flicking between normal mode, 4K, 1080p, slow motion, it's all good. The added functionality in the body without a grip, getting that mic port and the headphone jack just makes this a sweet little package. And yeah, the USB-C, if you're on a faster machine, you're getting your stuff across quicker. Very, very nice. I've used this with a field world monitor on the top, and it's a seamless experience, no problem, but I think you'd expect that, and to be fair, it was like that with my T2 too. One of the biggest questions out there is, should I get it over the T2? Is it worth the extra? Now, the T2, I've seen at the time of recording mint copies for around £600, which is brilliant for an extremely capable camera. If you don't need that extra autofocus, face tracking, video capabilities, the T2 is a solid camera. You could well put that extra £400 towards lenses, but that doesn't mean that if you've got the cash you shouldn't get the T3. Quite obviously, I absolutely love the T3, and there are some brilliant deals going on, and potentially, as the life of this video goes on, the T3, well, should come down in price. But this T2 has a lot to say, still got a lot of power. And I know I said that about the T1 as well, but in a professional world, the fast moving situations, the T2 isn't that bad really. It isn't that far off the T3 for most of us. Frankly, if you're shooting weddings, yeah, why not? Portraits, well, you could go even slower than the T2. The image quality is still bang on the money. Don't think, it's old, it's no use. It absolutely is useful and will be good for time to come. Of course, if you're really into your video shooting, the T3 has stepped up somewhat, and that face tracking is very nice, but the face tracking was fine on the T2, but the T3 will give you that extra power, and I guess will keep you going for even more years than this T2 will. It really depends what kind of shooter you are. If you're a pixel peeper, the T3 is the one for you. You're a pixel peeper, you're probably spending top dollar on everything anyway, so you know, get the T3, plug it into your computer and your 5K screen and go crazy. Why not? If you want to be satisfied, get that, pop the 16 to 55 on and just have fun. But if you're more of a purist but you don't want to be completely old school, the T2 will keep you very happy. The images are beautiful. There's not a huge deal between the two sensors. There's not a fat lot for most of us that aren't pixel peepers, and even pixel peepers. Anyway, T2 or T3, T2 plus a lens or the T3. Goes without saying that the sensor in this camera is beautiful. It's a nice little upgrade, not necessarily the huge jump that most of us would have liked to see, but it works for me. It's very nice, and the processor too keeps things moving along nice and fast, including that improved autofocus. Unlike certain other mirrorless manufacturers, the dual card slot is still a winner for me. That's something that I've grown to enjoy and I guess need, really, pretty much. Yeah, do like that. The camera still feels solid. There's nothing falling apart, and I've given it some good use. I mean, I don't really use it in any wild weather environments, but for my purposes, all is good with the build quality after all this time. As you'd expect, the raw files, very nice, a lot of flexibility in there, but of course if you want to have some fun with the JPEGs, Fujifilm, they just continue to improve with that. We've got a few more tweaks that we can make with the noise reduction, with the highlights. We've got a few more bits and pieces there. The rest of it is generally business as usual, and that's what I want to see with an upgrade. I don't want to see a complete reshape, redesign. I want to be able to put my hands on it and use it straight away, as I did with the T2 and the T1. I want to see small incremental changes when it comes to the build and the design, just little improvements. But you know, although probably fair to say there's one thing that I think we all wanted to see in this camera, and I didn't really want to mention it, but the lack of IBIS. It's a shame. Fuji, we know you've admitted that you've got to get it into a smaller body, and if you've been watching this channel, you know that I've got a way smaller body, not me, that has 5-axis IBIS. Now, I'm not suggesting anything, but you know, I think sometimes there are companies that, to avoid sort of a market flow that they're not sure about, they'll just say something like, we can't get it into the body, it's going to cause problems, blah blah blah. Not saying Fujifilm are lying in this case, but I think they can see now that people are really calling for it. But maybe we'll just see a smaller XH2 instead of it going into the T4. I get why there are different cameras. A big topic for us mirrorless users is battery life, and we've got a Berenstark in here, and you know that I've been testing these out, basically the Patonas, which I've been happy with for a year. I still have a load of X Pro batteries, and of course the official batteries. Is it just me that's getting 700, 800 shots out of this? I don't think so, but I'm very happy with that, and that's still shooting mainly. Minimal chimping, a little bit of reviewing, flicking around as I tend to do sometimes on a break at a wedding, maybe to post something to Instagram or just to make myself feel good about the shoot. You know, battery life can always be improved, but the T3, it's not that bad. It's at least it's not going backwards like some companies. Another biggie for us is low light performance, and it's definitely good. It's a little bit hit and miss in high speed situations, but frankly the sensor, the processor, everything is doing a treat. It's a beautiful upgrade. As we've said, it's not necessarily a 400-500 pounds upgrade for a lot of you, and yeah, there are so many new cameras out at the moment, and they can all do more or less an absolutely fantastic job. This is the one that feels good in my hands. This is the one that keeps me excited even on jobs that aren't necessarily so mind-blowingly exciting. This T3 made me happy, as a brand new camera should. I'm still very happy every time I pick it up, even for random stuff, which is why you see the 18-55 sitting on it. Now, other than IBIS, what else would I have liked to see that I didn't really need, but it would have added some nice functionality? Well, the flip out screen would have been very cool. IBIS and a flip out screen might make me purchase the next model, but I tend to skip a generation at the very least. So yeah, I don't think this is going anywhere anytime soon. Hands off. She's mine. There we go then. finally, we've put together an actual T3 review, but you know, everybody's got an opinion, so let us know in the comments below what you think about the T3 now we've had chance to really use it, not just have it for 2 hours and then put together a review as a lot of people do. See you in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe. Let us know what you want to see and what you want featured from the T3. Maybe there's some tips, tutorials, how-tos. Maybe there's a feature you want to look into a little bit closer. Why not? This is just a random overview, and yeah, just me and my love.